Yahuah, Barak, Yahuah, Barak, Yahuah. Shalom, shalom to all 12 tribes of Yasharal, wherever your feet are touching the soil on this special Yom, on this special day, on this fourth day, what in worldly terms is known as a Wednesday, in which this fourth day is the same day that Yahuah led the Abaryt, what you might know as the Hebrews, out of the house of bondage, out of the house of Egypt, out of the house of Mitzrayim, out of the hand of Pharaoh, who is a representation of Ha-Satan. This fourth day is the self-same day that Yahuah manifested in the likeness of man, but in his own flesh and blood as Yahushua HaMashiach, as Yahuah adds deliverance, Yahuah adds salvation, Yahuah adds redemption. He came and on the third hour was impaled in accordance with Mark, the 15th chapter. On the third hour was impaled on the tree. On the 6th hour, the sky turned to darkness, marking 3 hours that he had been impaled on the tree. And on the 9th hour, he said, Kala, he yielded up his Ruach back to the Shamayim, to where it came from. He gave up himself. He shed his redemptive dam upon the soil being a representation of us. For we are but dust, and to dust we were destined to returning if it had not been that Yahuah came in himself as deliverance, as Yahusha, to spill his dam and therefore ratify a new and everlasting covenant with us, his children. Shalom to the elder brother, Yahudah, Yahuah's covenant-keeping people. Shalom to the younger brother, Aphraym. Shalom to the former stranger, the former foreigner, who now via that redemptive dam of Yahushua HaMashiach is now made privy to being grafted back in to the olive tree, back into the middle branch of the menorah, back into Yahushua HaMashiach, back in to Yahudah, Yahuah's covenant-keeping people, and therefore being made privy to that same promise, that same inheritance of everlasting life that was given to Yasharal and to Yasharal alone. So shalom. Now, this is part 4 of the book of Hazun and its cyclic nature, the study that Yahuah has willed, the book of Revelation and its cyclic nature. Now, if you're wondering, this is your first time on the channel and you're wondering who we are, who I am, this is Eat Spiritual Bread, where we do just that. We eat spiritual bread, that living laham from the Shamayim, the bread that comes from the heavens. And I am Alessandro Ban Yahuah. Now, indeed, there's no time to recap. There's no time to go back and to explain what we're doing. There's no time to break down parts 1, 2, and 3 of this series. So, as said in parts 1, 2, and 3 of this series, if you are yet to have watched the first 3 now parts of this series, the Master Yahuah urges you, just as I do urge you, to go back and watch those 3 parts before watching this one. If you have even an inkling, even an ounce, even a gram, any weight of measurement of discernment for what season we are in, then you will be able to discern that we are in the end times. Hence, there is no time to go back and recap. Now, for sake of us just now getting into this 4th part, for sake of us continuing the study, what I will recap, what I will say is that the book of Revelation indeed throughout specifically chapters 6 to 18 show cyclic nature, meaning that whilst they are describing a time frame of 7 years, of 3.5 years of pre-tribulation and 3.5 years of the Great Tribulation, within these chapters 6 to 18. While if you're reading and you ask for the Ruach of 𝐤𝐄𝐄 from Yahuah as you are studying and reading this book of Revelation, if you indeed are reading along there, you will see that there are references of certain events, and there are mirrors of events, meaning that the same event is described in multiple different forms throughout these chapters. and they're cyclical. So the events, whilst you can reformat, this is what Yahuah has willed in this presentation, a reformatting of these events into a 7-year chronological time frame. We are going chapter by chapter to show its cyclic nature, and you will see in just a second that within each chapter, within certain sets of verses, we get certain time frames from this 7 years. We are now about to start with chapter 13, which brings us back to the beginning of the Great Tribulation, meaning the 3.5 years of before tribulation have been complete. If you're watching from parts 1, 2, and 3, you will know this means that Yahuah's covenant-keeping people, the 144,000, have been measured, have been taken to Mount Zion. So now the Great Tribulation, known as Yasharal's, known as Yaqub's, therefore by extension known as Aphrayim's Great Distress, is now beginning. So without any further ado, let's get into it. The cyclic nature of Revelation, the book of Revelation, the 7 years, 2 sets of 3.5 years, described throughout these chapters, however, in a cyclic form, where the same events are described multiple times, and now, as you can see here in the top corner, we are bringing it back into its respective time frame. So we're going to pick up from right where we left off. Again, if you haven't watched the last 3 parts, go back, watch those first. All right? There's no point watching this one if you haven't watched the other ones. All right? So let's begin. Halal that Yahuah bring you a ruach of dat, hukmah, binah, that's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding as we go through this wonderful study. All right? Now, these are not... as said in the former parts, these are not my words. These are not my thoughts. These are not my opinions. This is the text, the foundation thereof, and Yahuah has simply willed a building block on top of that text. For it is said by none other than Apostle Shuliach Shaul that the foundation itself is Yahushua HaMashiach. No man can lay a foundation of that which has already been laid, which is Yahushua HaMashiach, which is by extension, as found in Yehukanon, John chapter 1:1, the Word, the Dabar Yahuah. The Word was with Yahuah, the Word was Yahuah, Yahuah being Yahushua. Barak Yahuah. Let's begin chapter 13, the book of Hazun and its cyclic nature. All right, for the dart, the knowledge of where we are in this, in the events of what we're reading, I've got it right here. 3.5 years of tribulation, the Great Tribulation now begins. Chapter 13, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads. This beast is known as Babal the Great, the great beast, the great whore, Hasatan manifested, Hasatan coming and ruling on the earth 3.5 years of the Great Tribulation. This marking the beginning of the tribulation, meaning that the light that was once in the world, being Yahudah, being Yahuah's priests, a nation of priests, 144,000 in this season, have now been taken, meaning the world is in complete darkness. It is now allowable, it is now valid for the Hasatan, the adversary, to come down from the Shamayim, as we read in chapter 12. Go back to part 3. We read in chapter 12, Hasatan being cast here onto the earth, now ruling for 3.5 years. Hasatan, which by extension is the beast, which by extension is the new world order. The new world order. We're going to read the characteristics, what make up this new world order, what makes up this one world order, what makes up the matrix, what makes up Babal the Great, the great whore who sits on 7 hills. Let's read right now. Barak Yahuah. I saw a beast rise up. Yes, rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads. 7 heads. This is indeed the Roman Church, the Catholic Kirky. Circe, the Greek goddess of sorcery and wine, who is known for getting men drunk and turning them into unclean things or unclean pigs. This Circe, which translates into church. If you go and just look at the Greek etymology of the word church, you will see that this Circe, indeed makes no distinction between the clean and the unclean. The church, the Catholic Church, makes no distinction between the clean and the unclean. They both have forms of set apartness, but as written in the scriptures, deny the power thereof, meaning there is clean and unclean mixing. And we know that when light and darkness, when white and black mix, we get grey. We do not get white. We get grey, and that's what Hasatan loves, the grey areas. The church sitting on 7 heads, sitting on 7 hills, as we're going to read in the 17th chapter, I believe. The beast that sits on 7 heads has 7 heads as representative of Rome, which was founded on 7 hills. Barak Yahuah. All right. So having 7 heads and 10 horns. These 10 horns, again, represent the 10 united nations as a one world order. And upon his head, 10 katarim, 10 crowns, now representative of those 10 horns, those 10 united nations, which make up the one world order, which by extension make up the matrix, the beast, Babylon, Babal the Great, whatever, however you would like to call it or say it. 10 katarim, also a representation of the 10 tribes of Yasharal, Aphraym, who this great tribulation is reserved for, who momentarily this beast comes to rule over. Momentarily. And upon his heads, the names of blasphemy. The names of blasphemy. What could these names be? Well, they're right here. JC, God, ALL, etc. These are the names of blasphemy. Using these names is indeed blaspheming our Father Yahuah. Yahuah, your Eluah, one mighty one, serve no others. Yahuah, Yahusha HaMashiach. There is not two, there is one. There is not any room in this end season to replace that name or think that these names of blasphemy are just another name for Yahuah, for Yahusha. There is no room for that. There is no room for that in this season. So see it now that upon his heads, 7 heads, founded by the Roman Kirky, the Catholic Church, is the name of blasphemy. The names, rather, of blasphemy. This is a show that whether it's God, whether it's ALLAH, whether it's BUDDAH, etc., these are all founded from that same Kirky who makes no distinction between the clean and the unclean. These are names are all founded by that Catholic Kirky. Indeed. So when you may have an acquaintance there at your work, or you may run into someone and they're talking about God did this for me and this and that. It is no longer an exception. No longer is it an exception to simply hear what that person is speaking and replace the name God and JC with Yahuah and Yahusha. No longer is it an exception because they are speaking the names of blasphemy. This is not Yahuah, your Eluah. This is not Yahusha, your Redeemer. These are false pagan idols. These are indeed the Catholics, Kirky, the Circe. These are indeed, by extension, Hasatan. Fara'u, the one who once had you in bondage, is who these people are speaking upon. Now, indeed, you hear the word God, JC, uttered out of the mouth of those around you. Quickly correct them to Yahuah, Yahusha. They are not the same thing. This is more important than ever in this season because what Yahuah is doing is a greater separation, is making. If the Circe, this has to be said, the Roman Church is not making a distinction between the clean and unclean, Yahuah then is. Yahuah, and by extension Yahudah, 144,000 in this season, is making that distinction, is making that separation, the clean, the unclean. Yahuah, Yahusha, clean, JC, God, etc., unclean. They cannot simply be swapped around. They cannot simply be, he said God, but he really means Yahuah. Wrong. Choose who you serve in this season and move accordingly. If you are still caught up using these false words, we have a part in our series of Destination Zion speaking about this. The truth is in his name. I believe it's about part 4 of the series. Go watch it. The scripture tells us clearly. Go watch it. All right. Now, the beast. Yes, the beast which I saw was like a leopard. This is just doing a bit of further in-depth study, led by the Ruach, of course. If we go back to Daniel, the book of the prophet Daniel, the Nabi Daniel, we come to find that this leopard is indeed Greece. His feet were as the feet of a bear. This bear is indeed Persia, Media Persia, the Medes. And his mouth was as the mouth of a lion, the lion Babal the Great. The lion Babal the Great. Now here we see Greece. Here we see Persia, and here we see Babal the Great. Babal being the first beast. Persia being the second beast. Greece being the third beast. And just above in the first verse, the Rome, who is ruling now until the end. And Rome, by extension, now being the one world order, the 10 united nations coming together, founded on the backbone of Rome, is that fourth beast, is a culmination of all of the beasts. For Rome indeed has the pagan foundation of Babal the Great, of the Media Persians, the Persians, of the Greeks. And now Rome is indeed the fourth beast, the beast ruling until the end. Babal the Great, found in chapter 17. Yes, and the dragon gave him power and his seat and great authority. The dragon, being none other than Hasatan, gave this beast who is a representation of Hasatan, of darkness, of Pharaoh, of Mitzrayim, which is now the whole world in bondage. The dragon gave this beast, gave this system, this one world order, power and his seat and great authority. Okay, we follow along. Timeline remains the same. 3.5 years of tribulation, great tribulation. Now starting to. Now the play button has been pressed, and it's beginning. All right, and they worshipped the dragon, Hasatan, who gave power to the beast, the system, the one world order, the 10 united nations coming together as a one world order, a one world currency, etc. And they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like the beast? Who is like this one world government who has deceitfully brought the world into unity and oneness and saved us from the global financial crash, etc.? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given to him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. Great things and blasphemies. What did we just see the names of blasphemies are? What are they gonna do? They are gonna praise none other than who they worship, God, Hasatan, for these things. And so creating a false image that this one world order is pro our creator, is esteeming our creator. Of course, the nations, of course, Aphraym, thinking that by God they are praising the creator, but instead they are praising Hasatan, speaking great things and blasphemies. In other words, giving esteem to God. They will give esteem to God for this one world order, for this culmination of a new and a beast system, bringing what will seem like peace, what will seem like unity, oneness to the earth. Power was given to him to continue for 42 months. This is none other than 3.5 years. 3.5 years of great tribulation. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahuah, to blaspheme his name. I wonder how they're going to blaspheme Yahuwah's name. We just said it. G-O-D. G-O-D. Blasphemy. G-O-D. J-C. None other than, J-C being none other than the pagan G-O-D of the Greeks. Of J-C being none other than Hail Zeus. All right? This is how they're going to blaspheme. Because they're going to put on the image that they're giving esteem to the Creator, but they are giving esteem to none other than Hasatan, none other than Namrud, who you might know as Nimrod, none other than Pharaoh. And his mashkan, they blasphemed his mashkan, his tabernacle, his sanctuary rather, and them that dwell in the Shamayim, Yahudah, the 144,000. Word's gonna get out that all of a sudden, this small remnant of a remnant, this group of people have gone up into the Shamayim, whether it's visually seen or whether word goes out, whether one moment you're here and the next you're gone, and those around you spread this word that, Jack's no longer here. I don't know where Jack went. Oh, well, he did say that there might come a day where the tribulation comes and he will no longer be here. In preparation, for this, I have to tell you this now, and this is why I tell you to Teshuvah, etc. Word will get out, and so what this beast system, what this Kirky, what this Cirky, now by extension, this one world order is going to do they're going to blaspheme Yahudah. They're going to blaspheme these people, probably making up a story that indeed it was the adversary that took these people out of the Arats. I don't know. And now we have peace. Now we have one world order. That's speculation. I'm not going to go further into that. And it was given to him to make war with the Yashralim Kadashim and to overcome them. This is Aphraym. These are those now having clearly and evidently seen that the great tribulation is at hand, that darkness has come to rule, Hasatan has come to rule, are repenting, and as found in the writings of the 7 congregations, Revelation chapters 2-3, if you go back and read them, if you've studied them, you will know that some of these congregations will be put in prison, will be put to martyrdom, etc. This is none other than exactly that. And power was given him over all tribes, tongues, nations. Aphraym, becoming the fullness of the nations. And all that dwell in the Ulam shall worship him. Yes, whose names, here we go, this is the catch. Whose names are not written in the scroll of Cain, the scroll of life, and of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the Ulam. This indeed means that Yahuah, who is all-knowing, all-seeing, almighty, all-powerful, Yahuah, knowing who will turn, indeed will have these people's names already written, I think, in the scroll of Cain, or in the scroll of Cain. By this point, their names already being written, are those whose names are not written, who Yahuah knows will not turn, indeed come to worship the beast, and by extension come to receive the mark thereof. We're going to read just shortly. All right, so if any man has an ear, let him hear. He that leads into captivity shall indeed go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the endurance and the amunah of the Yashralim Kadashim. Here is their great test. Here is what the Great Tribulation is all about, is testing Yahuwah's remnant people who are left throughout this Great Tribulation. Will they return? Will they teshuvah, repent? Or will they worship the beast and so receive his mark and be subject to the lake of fire? All right, further along, from the beginning to now, around that mid-tribulation point. And I looked, this is still chapter 13, verse 11, and another beast came out of the Abaryt. Listen, another beast, almost a manifestation, another manifestation of Hasatan. Listen here, came out of the Abaryt, and he had two horns. What are indeed the most prominent, the most powerful, powerful religions, denominations in the Olam right now. What will indeed come to make up this second beast we see? Of course, still a manifestation of Hasatan, of Babel the Great, of the Kirky, the Catholic Church. Indeed, the one world religion. This beast manifested from the first beast, from the one world order, from the 10 United Nations, the one world, one world. This second beast with two horns, meaning two denominations, is indeed a one world religion made up of Christianity or Catholicism and Islam. Rather, Christianity and Islam being Catholicism. Hence where we get these two horns and the other beast. This is a one world religion that has now come into play in these latter yamim, where there is darkness ruling, and so this one world religion can come to rule. Yahuah has led this earthen vessel to trust in the fact that this will be a culmination of Christianity and Islam, indeed coming together, or rather there being such a division that a one world religion, which includes majorly these two denominations, come into play. Now, I could further speculate on the fact that it's hard for me to speak this on YouTube, but let's just say this, that the denomination that you don't see here, which we actually might know as the most powerful, currently ruling the Olam, the religion that you do not see here, indeed may be taken out by none other than these two denominations, making these two denominations to come together and create that one world religion. All right. So indeed, we see that this another beast, this one world religion, had two horns, like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. What could this be? What could this be? Like a lamb, like Yahusha, JC. But he spoke like a dragon, like Hasatan, this is a manifestation of. And he exercises all the power of the first beast, of course, before him, and causes the Olam, the world, and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast. This one world religion causes all who take part in it to worship the one world order. Of course, it makes complete sense. And by extension, to worship the Kirky, the Cirky, the church, Hasatan himself, whose deadly wound was now healed. And he does great wonders. There we go. So that he makes fire come down from the Shamayim. The blasphemy, he copies what Yahuah has prophesied. Indeed, to fool the earth. Into the Abaryt, in the sight of man. Here we go. And deceives them that dwell in the earth by means of those nazim, which is miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Saying to those that dwell in the Abaryt that they should make an image to the beast. They should make an image to the beast. This one world religion, which by extension is the beast system, now bringing those who are partaking to make an image. This image is none other than JC. If you are unblinded from the veil of deceit that this world in all its programming casts upon you, you will see this as well. So indeed, this beast brings all those that dwell in the earth to make the image to the beast, who had the wound by a sword and did live. All right, did live. Let's continue. And he had power to give Kaim, to give life. Listen to how this chain of events is taking place. We start with the beast system. We then get a beast, a one world religion out of this. We then get an image out of this one world religion. We now see that this image is given life. This is the anti-Messiah. Yes, it is. Look at how perfectly this is playing out bit by bit. When I say perfectly, I mean that this is not far off, family. This is not far in the distance. This is not hard to see that this is what is going to happen. In fact, it's very easy to see if you are in the scripts, if you are in Yahuah's Kadosh word, his set apart Dabar. If you are in his Kadosh Dabar, his set apart word in this season, you will see that this is not far off and this is not hard to imagine. This is easy to binah, to have understanding in, indeed. So, he had power to give life to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast. This is Aphraym, who now are being grafted back in this season, in this great tribulation, in this testing, this chastisement, this correction. See here now that it says that this beast, this system, would cause as many as would not worship this image, JC, to be killed. To be killed. This is Aphraym's martyrdom. This is indeed what we have seen in the previous chapters, that Aphraym must put off flesh. They must die a physical death for their beings to then be saved, for their beings to be redeemed and brought up to Mount Zion, which we find to be completed, to be fulfilled in Revelation chapter 16, which we will shortly get to, the first resurrection of Aphraym. We have already touched on this. We have already seen it in previous chapters, getting to the end of the tribulation, where Aphraym come and meet Yahudah, come and meet the bride and the bridegroom on Mount Zion, fulfilling the two-stick prophecy, Aphraym joining to Yahudah, fulfilling the prodigal son parable, the prodigal son returning to the father and the elder son who stayed with the father, etc. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in, listen up here, not on, in their right hand, or in, again, this is the correct wording, in their foreheads, in their right hand. Now, this again, if you have any discernment of the ages that we're in, you will pretty quickly be able to make the Ruach-led evaluation, the Ruach-led. You will come to a Ruach-led conclusion that this mark that is in your forehead, that will be in their foreheads or in their right hand, this mark of the beast, is none other than a chip of kinds, AI. It is automation. It is the giving over of your being to the beast, to AI, to Hasatan. So downloading your consciousness in this chip, in a computer, something like that. It is in your the foreheads. It is in their right hand. It has to be a chip. Or you see, they're already doing it in Europe, where they're putting chips in their hand to pay for things and stuff. As far as I'm concerned, that's pretty much the mark of the beast. That is giving up your consciousness to AI, to the system, to the beast. Once you do that, there is no, your soul has been taken by the adversary. There's no teshuba, there's no turning back then. See? Now listen here. And that no man might buy or sell except he had the mark, the chip, the chip. This is what it's seeming like. Again, speculation, Ruach-led speculation. Do your own research, do your own study. ask Yahuah for your own understanding. This is just what me and a few fellow Akim by the Ruach have been led to think, to believe. I don't like to use the word believe, to trust in the fact that this very may well be some sort of AI chip, some sort of downloading of consciousness, right? And without, there will come a time where without that, you will not be able to buy or sell. You will not be able to enter into play, to eat, etc. All right? No man might buy or sell except he had the mark, or the name of the beast, even the multitudes who have his name. There you go. Could this be Extians? Could this be Extians? Even the multitudes who call upon this GODJC, not receiving the mark, will no longer be able to buy or sell. Which, again, I would be led to trust that this is another thing in which will cause Aphraym to come back into covenant, to cry out to Yahuah. They're their only chance at redemption. They no longer can eat. They no longer can function in this one world beast system. Yahuah is their only chance. Here is 𝐤𝐄𝐄𝐄, here is wisdom, here is prudence. Let him that has binah, understanding, consider the multitude of the beast. Yes, for it is the multitude of a man, and his multitude is encoded in Chi, Si, Sigma, what to you might be known as 666. This, however, 666 is just a number. When we look into the LXX Septuagint, the most ancient form of restored manuscript from the Abaryt, the ancient Abaryt tongue, over excuse me, over to the Greek. The translation of the ancient Abaryt over to the Greek, this translation being done by 70 Hebraic scholars. We actually find that this Chi Si Sigma being translated from the Abaryt does not translate from the Abaryt 666, but rather is a code of kinds. Rather, actually has a link back and it has a link back, and so it has a connection to indeed the Kirky, to indeed the church, to indeed ALLAH, which is the Islamic pagan God. You find this, and from there back to the Greek Zeus, etc. This is his this is his encodement. This is his representation. Chi Si Sigma, meaning far more than just the plain letters of numbers of 666, but actually meaning that his multitude is encoded in the names of blasphemy. Go do your own research if you don't trust what is being laid down by this earthen vessel, by Yahuah, rather, the Ruach, just using this earthen vessel to put this together. Go back and do your own research if you don't want to go off my own word. And I do suggest that indeed you do your own research and do not just go off my own word, but rather use this as a foundation for no man can lay any other foundation than that which has been laid, which is Yahushua HaMashiach, which is the word. So use this foundation and seek what Yahuah so brings you to seek using this foundation. Now I had a note here that the martyrdom of Aphraym, which we clearly just read, was seen in Revelation 6:9. So you can go back to Revelation 6:9 and indeed find this lineup showing that Revelation 6:9 trust. Let's actually go back to Revelation 6:9 quickly. Why not do it together? Revelation 6:9 perfectly also being timelined in the mid of the 3.5 years of Great Tribulation, the middle of the end 3.5 years of Great Tribulation. Revelation 6:9 matching up with 13. Matching up with what we just read, 13, these few verses. Indeed, the martyrdom, yes, the martyrdom of Aphraym, there's that perfect cyclic nature matching up. Woohoo! Chapter 14. My favorite. Here at Eat Spiritual Bread, our favorite chapter. The chapter that brings tikva to a remnant of a remnant in this season, to those striving in all uprightness, to those seeking Yahuah in this season, bringing the tikva, the hope of indeed being guarded from the time of trial, bringing Yahudah, Yahuah's covenant-keeping people in this season, the goal, the goal to be on Mount Zion with Yahuah, and so guarded from the time of testing that is soon to come upon the earth. Let's begin. We now come back to the 3.5 years of pre-tribulation being completed. So, as this is happening, the 3.5 years of great tribulation being set to start. Reading from verse 1, chapter 14. And I looked and saw a lamb, this is Yahushua HaMashiach, stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000 Yashralim, having his name and his Abba's name. They are one, having the name Yahuah, Yahushua HaMashiach, the name of Yahuah, and the name of, by extension, Yahuah's redemption, Yahushua HaMashiach, written in their foreheads. Where do you think the idea of the mark of the beast comes from? Hasatan copies. He copies. This indeed is the mark of Yahuah. What you may know as the seal of the living Elohim, the seal of Yahuah, of Yahushua HaMashiach. 144,000. And I heard a voice from the Shamayim, as the voice of many Mayim, waters, as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers playing with their harps. And they sang, as it were, a new shir, a new song before the kasai, before the throne. A new song, a new offering. And before the four creatures and the zakanim. And no man could learn that shir, that song, that offering, but the 144,000 Yahudah who were redeemed from the olam, redeemed from the world, taken out of the world before darkness, before Hasatan, the adversary, before the beast system we just read about comes in place to rule for 3.5 years, before death itself. Hasatan puts on flesh and rules the earth. There is no longer light, there is darkness. These 144,000 were redeemed from such. Hence we get this redemption taking place just as the Great Tribulation is coming. It's a swapping over. Yahuah's light, 144,000 taken to the Shamayim to dwell on Mount Zion. Yahudah, the first bride, coming to dwell with their bridegroom, Yahuah, Yahushua HaMashiach. And so Hasatan being taken from the Shamayim where Yahudah come to be, and bound and cast down to the Abaryt, as we read in the 12th chapter, part 3. Go back and watch it if you haven't. Yes, indeed. These are those, here's the description, who were not defiled with women, spiritually and physically, not defiled with women, meaning with other false gods, false idols, and also meaning strange women not in covenant with Yahuah. Indeed, for they are virgins. There we get spiritual virgins. They are spiritually undefiled, clean, kadosh, set apart for Yahuah, to now on Mount Zion get to know Yahuah, get to fully partake in Yahuah in fullness, being virgins, being fully kadosh and clean. These are those who follow the Lamb. They follow Yahushua HaMashiach, by extension, the way, truth, and life of Yahushua HaMashiach, wherever he goes. These were redeemed from among men. Now, we just read that they were not defiled with women. here we get the idea that this 144,000 is represented by this number by men. These are men. These 144,000 are men. Now, if you know Yahuah, if you know his order, if you know the Tanakh, if you know the book we'll use specific examples of Exodus and Numbers and so on, you will see all throughout the Tanakh that indeed Yahuah always ordered by men. The men of tens and of 50s and of hundreds and of thousands and of 10,000s. Men. When Yasharal was taken out of the house of bondage, it was counted, it was numbered the men that were on foot, not the women and children. The women and children, of course, are being taken out of bondage with the men. So when we see this number of 144,000, we see that these are men who were not defiled with women, men who were redeemed from among men. By extension, these men also hold the women and children that were redeemed. Mount Zion, 144,000, Yahudah in this season being taken to Mount Zion are not just men, but are represented by men. Women and children are sitting under the men, as we know in Yahuwah's perfect order is how it is, right? But indeed, the men being the representation point, being the numbered 144,000. So where we get the 144,000, we get the 144,000 and women and children taken to Mount Zion. This is Yahudah, the whole house thereof, the whole house who are in covenant in this season with Yahuah. These were redeemed from among men, being the Bakurim Natzarim, the firstborn branches, the first fruit branches to Yahuah and to the Lamb, meaning that they have gone through the process of presenting themselves first as barley, then as wheat, then as new wine, and then as new oil. And so now coming to fulfill the 7 months of feast, tabernacling with Yahuah. This is none other than Yahudah. Yahuah's 144,000 covenant-keeping people in this season. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault. Listen here, they are without fault before the throne of Yahuah. Now we see in the 7 congregations that Philadelphia, who is a representation of Yahudah, are the only ones that were found without fault. That Yahuah did not have but even one thing against. Yahuah saying in the other congregations, but I have a few things against you. But you have, you have done this and this, but you have done this as well, right? These are without fault. They are found clean. They have no matter of uncleanness upon them in this season. They are presenting themselves now, especially on the 3rd and 9th hour, as continual ascending offerings unto Yahuah, that by this time they may be fully, wholly consumed, and so taken to Mount Zion in all matters of cleanness. Nothing unclean can enter Mount Zion, can rise into the Shamayim, can, in accordance with chapter 12, be taken on eagle's wings. And there followed another heavenly malach. So here, you see from verse 8 onwards, we go now to the mid to latter end of the Great Tribulation. The first 1 to 5 verses are being the completion of pre-tribulation, the beginning of the Great Tribulation. Now we already skipped down to the mid to latter end. And here we see this clearly by what we're about to read. And there followed another heavenly malach, saying, Babel has fallen, is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations corrupt with the wine of her fornication. The wine being a representation of church doctrine, of false doctrine, of no distinction of the clean and unclean. And the third heavenly malach, this is the third shofar, shown and detailed in Revelation 8:10. No time here to go back, but you go back yourself and have a look. followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worships the beast and his image and receives his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahuah, the lake of fire, the wine of the wrath of Yahuah, which is poured out with mixture into the cup of his indignation. Yes, these are those who have defiled their temple. Defiled what once was created by Yahuah, your only Elohim. They have defiled it. So they shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahuah, being thrown into the great winepress, which we are going to soon read. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the Kadosh, heavenly Malakim, and in the presence of the Lamb. This is the result of receiving the image, the mark of Hasatan, of the beast system, of the one world religion, of the Roman Kirky, the church. You best get out. You best get out now in this season. That you not be tormented with fire and brimstone, poured into the cup of his indignation, and the smoke of their torment ascends la'olam ba'ad, forever and ever, and they have no rest, yum or lila, day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name, the mark of the anti-Messiah, JC. Here is the endurance. Here is the endurance. We're now taking it back. Verse 12, taking it back to the beginning of the tribulation. As we read, here is the endurance of the Yashralim Kadushim, the set apart ones of Yasharal. Aphraym now coming to be grafted back in other words, repenting, calling upon Yahuah, crying out to their last hope, their last chance, Yahuah ha-Zaraka, Yahuah the righteous. Here are those that Shumah, that guard, here we go, the commandments, the matzbut of Yahuah, and the amunah, the trust in Yahusha, Yahuah our Redeemer. And I heard a voice from the Shamaim saying to me, right, here we go. This is the marking of the beginning of the Great Tribulation. Baruch, favored are the dead. Favored are the dead who die in Yahuah, who die standing firm for Yahuah, calling upon the name of Yahuah from this time forward. From this time forward, darkness now coming to rule the earth, great tribulation beginning. Baruch, favored are those who from now call upon Yahuah, repent to Yahuah, and so die in the name of Yahuah. Martyrs being imprisoned, simply repenting, and so Yahuah striking them with an earthly death, that their beings may be redeemed, that they shall not see spiritual death of kinds. Favored are those the dead who die in Yahuah from this time forward. Yes, says the Ruach, says Yahuah, Yahushua Mashiach, that they may rest from their labors, and their matzbut, their works do follow them. Here we get a start of tribulation message of Tikva for Aphraym. Now, again, from those two verses 12 and 13, we now already, this chapter 14, very cyclic in nature, we now cycle right back to the end. We were just at the start, now we're at the end of the Great Tribulation, and we see, and I looked and see a white cloud upon the cloud. One sat like the Ban Adam, the son of man, having on his head a golden katar, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another heavenly malak came out of the mashkan, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, like the Ban Adam, Yahushua HaMashiach, thrust in your sickle and reap. This is the end of the Great Tribulation. Reap, for the time is come for you to reap. For the harvest of the world, the harvest is ripe. The harvest is ripe. Those who have cried out to you in this time of tribulation have died the earthly death, that their beings may be saved. Now the tares are ready to be reaped. Thrust in your sickle and reap, for the harvest of the alarm is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle into the alarm, the world. The world was reaped, And another heavenly malach came out of the mashkan that is in the shamayim, he also having a sharp sickle. And another heavenly malach came from the altar, who had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in your sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the olam, for her grapes are fully ripe. Listen here. And the heavenly malach thrust in his sickle and gathered the vine of the olam, the ripe grapes, and cast it into the great winepress of wrath of Yahuah. The great winepress of the wrath of Yahuah. And the winepress was trodden outside of the city. And the dam came out of the winepress, the dam of indignation, the dam of disgust, of defilement of the temples, even to the horses' bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. The dam, the cup was overfilling with dam of indignation, with dam of false cirky doctrine, of no distinction between clean and the unclean. Now listen, you best not want to, you best not want to make it to this point in the Great Tribulation, where there is almost no teshuvah from this point onwards. We're getting very close. We're getting very close in this season to darkness, to Hasatan, putting on flesh and coming and ruling the world for 3.5 years. Where if it be that you are not found clean, you are not found worthy, you are not found well doing in this season, if it be so, then you will be subject to this winepress, to the great winepress of the wrath of Yahuah. And you do not want to be subject to this winepress. You do not want to be, you do not even want to be subject to having to die a worldly death, so there be a chance that your being may be saved, and so be part of the first resurrection of Aphraym. You now in this season, this is a cry, this is a call, this is a voice crying out in the wilderness to his sheep who have come across this video, because indeed Yahuah's sheep, they hear his voice, and another voice they will not follow. So if you have come across this video and you have even a doubt, you have even a little creeping up doubt that you may indeed not be considered clean in this season, that you have not set your desires upon Yahuah and Yahuah alone, that you are still pleasing man or woman over pleasing Yahuah. This is a cry from just an abad, just a servant of Yahuah's to you, that you teshuvah, that you turn away from your unclean doings, that you get down to the threshing floor of karushah, of set apartness, and you cry to Yahuah your Eluah, and you come upon his altar on the 3rd and the 9th hour, and you give yourself up to him. You say to Yahuah, consume me as a consuming fire, and burn the spiritual fat that lays upon me, the carnal flesh, that the incense of that burnt offering may rise and be a sweet smelling savor that's pleasing and acceptable to Yahuah in Yahuah's sight. Cry to Yahuah that you want to be perfected. And so, as it is Torah that the woman being raped in this season, Aphraym being raped by Hasatan, having cried out, the woman's kinsman redeemer, none other than Yahuah, Yahushua HaMashiach, will come and will redeem that woman. Will come and will take that woman from the one who she's being raped by, and will bring that woman into the safety of the confines of his fence. Will bring the lost sheep back into his fence. In this season, this is Yahudah, 144,000 sheep being brought back into the confines of our master's fence. So being found clean. So as we just read there in chapter 14, verses 1 to 5, being found as virgins before the throne, having no falsehood or guile in their mouths. This is Yahudah, Are you Yahudah in this season? Are you Yahuah's sheep? Are you hearing his voice? Are you coming upon his altar, giving your all, pouring out your entire being, doing your reasonable service to him who came and did his reasonable service to us, to him who came and redeemed us and shed his blood for us, who poured out his whole being for us? Are you coming and doing the same? Are you coming and pouring out your whole being for Yahuah in this season? I pray you are. Master, thank you for these wonderful words, for this wonderful study, for this part 4 of the book of Hazun and its cyclic nature. Send it out to the 4 corners of this flat plain arat of those who are seeking you, those who are the desire to know you, whose beings cry out to you, Yahuah. May you come to lift up that veil of deceit from off their faces in this season, that they may see, that they may hear, and that they may understand. Until the next one, Barak Yahuah, Barak Yahuah, Barak Yahuah. Shalom.